Hi, you guys. Okay, the saga continues. Last time I had just gotten kicked out of school for attention seeking, dramatic and extreme attention seeking. Now I was at home and everything was so uncomfortable because my family felt like they were walking on ice. What is it called? I don't know.
Eggshells.
Eggshells. That's right. Okay, and it was just very, very uncomfortable. And then they arranged to send me to a psychologist. I called it a shrink, but anyway. And the thing is that I was kind of, my whole thing was about going to a mental hospital, so I was very excited to go to this thing. Well, guess what? The one visit cured me of my ailment, which was attention seeking from a psychiatrist, because he was the last person on earth that I wanted to talk to or would want attention from. Forgive me. He was a person, but for me, he looked like a frog, a big toad, and he looked like a toad, and he did not have any personality that I could see, and I did not want him to pour his attention into me. I just didn't even want to talk to him. So I let my family know that I no longer needed to go, and guess what? I no longer had a desire. It cured me. The guy cured me because I no longer had a desire to be in a mental hospital or to be mentally ill. What I wanted now was attention from another source, and this is what happened. Okay, we lived on an island called Key Biscayne. It's an island off of Miami, not really part of the Keys, but anyway, at that time, it was hardly anybody lived there. It was small. There was hardly any buildings and stuff, and pretty much everybody knew each other. And there was only an elementary school in there, so we got bussed out to go to the high school. And so the thing is that ever since I was born, my mom would take me to the Episcopal Church on Key Biscayne, but she let me quit when I was 12 because for me it was the most boring place on earth. I hated going there. But anyway, so what happened, while I had been at boarding school, something had happened there, whereas this young couple had an extreme encounter with God. It's like they had been on the verge of divorce, their child had died, and they hated each other, and then somehow God broke through, healed their marriage, and they felt full of joy again. I guess they realized that their baby was in heaven and God healed their hearts, and they started to be able just to kind of like reach out to young people. So they had this mini revival going on with all the hippies. It was the Jesus movement type. It was like the Jesus people. And there was this thing going on at my mom's church. Well, I still couldn't have cared less. But there was this friend of mine that I knew from high school. No, from elementary school. And we started to be friends again and hang out. And so she started to take me, well, the reason why, she really couldn't have cared less either. We were into just watching TV, smoking our cigarettes and all of that. And we could have cared less about God. But one day her bicycle got stolen. And because she had a couple years before, she had her own little encounter with God because she was almost dying of anorexia. And God broke through in her life, but then she kind of left God aside for a moment. But anyway, when her bicycle got stolen, she decided that she needed prayer. So there was a thing called a Monday night meeting where that was when the youth would take over, and it was only the youth, and it was like people my age, teenagers and early 20s, and so I went there with her for prayer for her bicycle. But the thing is that all of a sudden I felt, when I was there, it's like I felt love. And I thought that the love was coming. I just thought, man, these are kind of special people. And so my attention seeking thing shifted, and now I wanted their attention. But I could have cared less about God. So we were on the peripheral. That means like the outside part of this whole thing. We didn't care about getting to know God, but I started to do some of my extreme attention seeking towards these people. But I also had this kind of thing rise up in me where I wanted just to freak them out, you know, and I wanted to, they were the only ones that would be nice to me on the bus to my high school, and my mind went blank. Oh yeah, they were the only ones, but I would love just to say, I saw The Exorcist last night, and I would start to describe The Exorcist, and I thought that would freak them out, and I kind of would get off on that. But anyway, something must have rubbed off on me, and God somehow got a little bit in there during this time, because what happened was, even though I could care less about God, I thought He cared about me. And He, one day, all right, I was still, remember, living vicariously through my movies and stuff. Well, there was this one movie called The Singing Nun with Debbie Reynolds, and it's about how, well, it's a good movie, an old movie, but it's really a good movie. But anyway, I had the album. Back in those days, what do you guys call them? Vinyl? A record. I had an album, and so I loved the music from that. And one day, at the end of the movie, she ends up going to Africa to be a missionary, and that's the last shooting scene and everything. Well, on the back of the album, there was a picture of that, of her with the African children. And so one day, I was standing by my window, just kind of looking at the album, listening to the music, and all of a sudden, God spoke to me. Believe it or not. I don't know how, but this is what He spoke. I don't know how I knew this, but I knew it. And what He said was, you can follow me now, or you can pursue your own dreams. But one day you're going to be a missionary. And so, in that split second, I knew that at this time in my life, I did not want God. So from that time on, I put Him on hold. And I stopped hanging around these Christians and stuff. And I'm not going to tell you till the next time what happened, but I will tell you that He allowed me, 4 years later, he allowed me to be in my dream come true. And so next time I will continue on with this little saga and dream big and go for it.